Chapter 2. Continued. Looking across the city, Evren sees the sprawling areas of the different city districts that settle around the bay. To the north of the harbor lies Lacoste, home of the suburbs where all those live who could afford it. To the south of the harbor sits Yark, a mixture of law firms, banks, and advisory companies, central with its huge skyscrapers and ageless stone buildings that date back to the 1st century. And to the east, her Cassatin. Industrial, commercial, a melting pot of cultures. Evren looks down at the many small shops, delis, and the bustling traffic in the streets. Around this time of day, delivery trucks regularly clog up these small streets, causing traffic jams in places that even the traffic AI cannot predict. She spots a police copter slowly descending to street level, its bright yellow landing lights cycling. Nudging Pris, Evren excitedly points at the sleek vehicle.
Look! Look! It's one of the new police copter.
She quickly aims her arm clip at the scene to get a snapshot.
Damn, I wish I had one of those.
Pris mutters, peering out of the window, with a look of unmet desire in her eyes. Evren replies,
It'll never happen. You'll need massive processing power to guarantee full control in flight and landing.
happy to share her knowledge. Evren explains the costs for such a vehicle.
And the turbines? That's military grade. These things are stupendously expensive.
She says,
I heard the Winslow family has a civilian version as a prototype somewhere. But for us? No way.
Having Pris's attention, Evren quickly looks back at the crow, who is still busy with his display, and continues quietly.
Pris?
Yes?
About yesterday?
What about it?
Pris abruptly shoots back. She is not afraid to discuss yesterday's event in front of other people. But Evren is.
Nothing. We'll talk later.
After a while, Pris steers the Chirox off the city freeway. The Porter off-ramp swoops down to ground level in an elegant arch, ending at an intersection. As the car comes to a halt at the traffic light, Pris turns to Erlen.
So, we're good. $250 for the materials and I owe you $1?
Yeah, this car is worth it.
Erlen nods, bumping his fist against the sky roof to stop the squeaking. Little bits of carbon flakes slowly tumble down on the seat.
Drop me off at the junkyard. I'll get your stuff.
He assures her.
Marv should be in the shop today. Just drop by later. He'll have a look at it.
He swipes his display shut and adds,
And about that other,
We'll talk about it later.
Pris quickly interjects, impatiently explaining to the crow.
I have to get some other shit done first, okay?
Evren casually watches the crossing traffic, pretending not to listen.
That other what?
She muses worriedly.
So it's not something between us three.
Evren is both happy and even more worried about this development. Still, a side glance at Pris's face affirms her concerns.
But it's eating her up.
Evren worries. Trying to act casual, she remarks,
$250? That's a lot of money, Pris. I hope you know what you're doing.
Pris shrugs her shoulders.
It's okay. The work at the beach joint pays decent cash.
She explains.
With tips, I easily make $100 a week, and wet season is coming up. With all the tourists at the beach bars, I can push it to $130, $150 a week even.
She grins at Evren and calls out.
I'm all set. I'm gonna be a rich bitch this year.
That's the Pris I fell in love with.
Evren smiles to herself. Confident, determined, and a bit crazy. Set in this world to be herself. No second guesses. Strong.
One more reason to be concerned about her lashing out.
Evren thinks with a frown.
I need to talk to Coran ASAP. This dumb crow probably doesn't even know what's going on.
After a moment, she realizes.
Neither did I.
Pris rapidly accelerates her car across the intersection as AI-driven cars around her increase their security perimeter, recognizing this car as a traffic hazard. Exchanging information between them, the AI-driven cars leave a wide berth for Pris's car to pass.
Yeah, move it, you pricks.
Pris snarls aggressively and fervently shakes her head, her braids flying.
These AI are so stupid.
She says.
You can just push them off the street if you wanted to.
Evren knows of Pris's dislike for autonomous AI and tries to reason with her.
Yes, but there are still people in those cars, we know.
She says.
And we have a lot less traffic jams since they installed the city traffic AI. Energy consumption is down and traveling time is shorter. Unless there are too many cars driving faster than they should.
Evren looks at Pris pleadingly as deriding laughter sounds from the back.
What's up with your Len professor here?
Erlen snorts. Leaning forward, he taps Evren on her shoulder.
AI has ruined our freedom. That's what your AI did to us.
He grumbles.
I can't even drive to the beach anymore because of this environmental bullshit. I can't even piss in the woods without breaking some damn law.
He gets visibly agitated and pokes at Evren's shoulder again.
And stupid politicians get fatter and fatter on the cash they suck out of our pockets. And you glass pedal kids.
He curses at Evren.
Holy Trinity, all for equity and shit. Len kissing Len, even raising kids together. You know, over in Verler, they don't have these problems. They even drive with gasoline because they want to.
Evren waits for his rant to end, shocked that there are actually people thinking life in Verler is better than here on Lasses. His words are wrong on so many levels that she would not even know where to start to prove him wrong. Pris laughs Erlen's comments off, grabbing his finger with her fist. Forcing his finger away from Evren and toward herself, she pretends it to be a microphone.
Dear Amos, gentle cross and precious lens. In the right corner, weighing in at 240 pounds, the defending Crow world champion in bullcrapping.
Pris pushes his hand back hard and grabs the wheel again.
You are so full of shit, Erlen.
She grunts, shaking her head in disgust.
How can you seriously want to live over there?
She snaps.
Just for talking like this, you'd get thrown in a working camp. You know why they still use gasoline? Because they can't build their own electrical converters. And that shit's expensive. They don't have the money for it. You dipstick.
Yeah, whatever.
The Crow snorts dismissively. He realizes he would not stand a chance against a Len and an Amma in a debate. Annoyed, Pris honks at a delivery truck that is slow to maneuver out of the way. In the back, Erlen massages his finger, staying silent in fear of Pris's retribution. Looking outside, he finds that they are closing in on the industrial area of the district where workshops, storage buildings, and junkyards make up the scenery. Meanwhile, Pris's reaction fills Evren with deep, fulfilling joy. Pris stood up for her like her knight in shining armor. Her protection makes it easier for Evren to cope with Erlen's aggressive rant.
How many kids think like this monkey-brained Crow?
She thinks, still taken aback.
No one I know talks like this.
The car's hydraulic suspension groans as Pris takes a shortcut over the curbs and abruptly brakes the car in front of the gates of a large junkyard.
Okay, have fun without me, you two.
Erlen smirks as he forcefully opens the back door. Its creaking hinges give way under protest. Evren finally musters up enough courage to slap the Crow with one last one-liner. Leaning her elbow out of the open window, she looks at him nonchalantly.
Hey, Erlen. Your ideas and this car have a lot in common. Both are outdated and hard to fix.
The whole car shakes as Erlen angrily slams the door shut. He raises his index and pinky finger offensively and shouts something back. The screaming noise of the Chirox engine drowns out his reply as Pris punches the gas pedal, laughing loudly. The car lurches backwards onto the street, still laughing. She kicks in forward gear and accelerates again.
Nice burn, Evren. Nice burn. My little warrior.
Pris is beaming with pride at her friend. With a few touches on the driver's console, she puts the car in AI mode and shifts over to her best friend. Evren thankfully cuddles up to Pris. Her heart still pumping pure adrenaline, she just realizes that she really sucked it to that Crow.
I won fair and square.
She grins to herself.
Well, not actually fair. His poor brain probably couldn't even comprehend what I was talking about.
The arrogant Len part despises the Crow, but her empathy instinctively chimes in.
Who am I to judge him? What do I know about that Crow? His problems may run deeper than mine.
Inevitably, she compares the similar free and easy lifestyles of Pris and Erlen.
Will Pris eventually become like him? Is he bad company for her? Should I keep her away from these car geeks?
Stunned, she realizes the patterns of her thoughts.
Oh my gods! I sound like my Amma mom.
She lays her arm around Pris's shoulder and tries to ignore her mom thoughts. She needs to focus on the Pris that is beside her now. The bustling downtown of the district opens up. Small stores with vividly colored advertisement. Bars and restaurants nestle between gleaming skyscrapers. Traffic is dense and eventually, The traffic AI regulates their speed down to a crawl.
Pris, what happened yesterday?
Evren snuggles up against Pris's arm, her hand soothingly brushing over Pris' chest muscle.
Oh, Lynn,
Pris sighs, hugging Evren tightly.
it was just too much. Seeing you three, all smiling and not thinking about me. I felt so alone. Everything we built together felt lost.
And what about your little get-together with Erlin and Cayman yesterday?
Evren tries to stay casual, but her voice is wavering.
Yes, I saw your little private dance with them, Pris.
That's completely different.
Pris fires back in anger. Aggravated that she got caught in this predicament, she looks for excuses.
That's just dicking around.
She defends herself meekly, her head sinking to her chest. Evren distances herself from Pris and clasps her arms around her chest, frowning at Pris's irresponsible point of view. She gazes out of the window into a sea of red brake lights as she murmurs,
Oh, I see. And Corin and I do not have that privilege. I see.
The car comes to a standstill, its AI patiently waiting for the city traffic AI for further instructions. Righteous anger builds up in Evren over Pris's egoistic attitude.
Only Amma may do whatever they want.
She says,
Oh yes, they must be obeyed. Oh yes, they are always leading the way and…
I'm sorry, okay.
Pris shouts in open resignation louder than necessary. Evren flinches at her sudden outburst, turning away with a feeling of guilt for having Pris pushed too far. Nervously, Evren glances out of the side window, watching a robust crow stacking boxes of vegetables and fruit on walkway racks in front of his store. A tear peels away from the corner of Pris's eye. Instinctively, she wipes the tear away with her forearm, as she also watches the crow outside who kneels to talk to a little Amma girl.
It's just that…
Pris hesitates. Her chest heaves as if straining against overwhelming weights. She reaches to the control console and darkens the windows. Pris firmly squeezes her eyes shut as her head sinks to her chest. Evren extends her arms around Pris and draws her close.
Pris, come on, Emma.
She whispers in her ear.
I'm your triple partner. You and Corin are the light of my life. I don't want to lose you.
She gives Pris a sad smile and whispers,
Don't I get a little credit in your trust?
playing with one of Pris's braids. Evren softly appeals to her.
Pris, I feel that something is wrong with you. Trying to kick an Aime's ass? Just because she hugged us? That's not the Pris I know.
Evren draws Pris's head down to her chest and caresses the back of Pris's head, waiting for her answer. Pris thankfully rests her head against Evren's bosom. Little quivers start to shake Pris's shoulders, broadening into a trembling, silent weep that jars her whole chest. Suddenly, she begins to weep openly with a loud, wailing cry, her tense body shaking. She desperately clutches her arms around Evren, as if holding on tight to the only thing that gives meaning to her life. Evren can barely breathe under Pris's embrace, but she just holds on to her best friend and gives her the time she needs.
Let it out, Emma. Let it out.
Outside, the crow cuddles the little Emma affectionately. They look like immigrants from Kronth with their pale bluish skin and long woven coat-like dresses. The little Emma smiles cheerily at the crow and runs off with a fruit in her hand, her tiny feet dancing up the stairs to the store. The traffic ahead moves forward slowly and their car crosses an intersection. After a while, Pris's weeping eases to a weak sniffing. She reaches into the glove compartment for a tissue and noisily clears her nose. Without thought, Pris stares blindly outside and says in a monotonous, resigned voice,
I'm pregnant.
For a second, Evren can't even process the words. When her mind eventually catches up, it runs right into the closing punch. Pris, pregnant. She reels back in disbelief as she follows that thought through.
I'll be a Len mother.
A logical path that leads her straight into insanity. She stares ahead into the chaos of cars and trucks that try to pass a stranded delivery van.
But how? I mean, when?
She asks, dumbfounded. Another thought enters Evren's mind.
And with whom?
Do you remember that evening I took you home after Corin's training? Corin and you were supposed to study for the first biology exam.
Pris looks at the stunned Evren.
That was 2 moons ago. I took a pregnancy test last moon because I was worried. It was negative.
Pris looks outside. uncomfortable talking about very personal issues with another gender.
But I change, Ev, physically. I looked it up online.
Her dry tone belies her emotional state as she cynically reports.
It's either a tumor or a baby.
You didn't see an aid worker on this.
Evren is shocked. Medical assistance is free in all first aid stations. It would have taken but an hour of her time.
Pris, why?
She presses her.
There's more.
Pris whispers, almost devoid of emotion, like a fatigued warrior after too many battles. Nervously, she peers out of the window into the flood of red brake lights. Cars are braking and shifting lanes to pass another traffic bottleneck. From Pris' darting glances, it is clear to Evren that an even heavier weight is about to drop on her already shattered self. She braces herself inside, clears her throat, and softly asks under tears,
Mo?
I did something really stupid.
Oh, I can handle stupid.
Evren replies carefully, partly relieved.
No, I mean really, really stupid.
Pris is still visibly torn about telling Evren the truth in all its details.
I met this guy from the Ecos.
Pris begins.
What?
Evren screams at her, appalled by Pris's link to a terrorist organization. Images of the burning buildings in the industrial park flash before her inner eye. Pris pleads patiently.
Let me finish.
The egos? Pris, are you crazy?
Evren cannot find one good reason why anyone would mess with these outlaws. Pris clutches her arm and fixes Evren's eyes.
Let me finish.
With every word, she clamps down more on her arm. Evren tries to calm down, but her mind is still in uproar.
Why is this shit happening to me? What have I done? I've done nothing. We never get out of this. We all end up in jail and we're carbon for the next 50 years.
It's not what you think.
Pris murmurs defensively, gathering her posture.
I made a one-time quick money deal.
She says.
Getting a crow from point A to point B. Done deal.
She hesitates.
No questions asked. Until last week.
Pris lets out her breath in frustration.
That crow now wants me to pick up a box of tools for him. I said no, but
He threatened you with video evidence.
Evren finishes for her, shaking her head.
Pris, it's like you never hustled the streets. Really? They got you with that.
well, thanks for your understanding.
Pris moans in rejection. They remain silent for a moment, lost in thought. Pris's mind is still in turmoil by the emotional roller coaster that swirls in her head. Yet, like after a cleansing rain, she thinks more clearly now. The dark clouds of her anger and fears dissipate, shedding a glimpse of light onto the choices that lay before her. Slowly, choices fade away that masked her true intention and the decision she already made. Now she only needs to understand it. Evren is trembling slightly, nervously tapping her foot. She feels blown away by Pris's revelations. Too much to process. Too many angles. Too much fear for herself, for Pris, for her baby. She wrings her hands and forces herself not to panic. At that moment, the car slows down to enter the parking lot of her school. She moans loudly in recognition.
Great, and school.
Evren turns to Pris with a sad, resigned face.
Why don't you just shoot me right here?
She sighs.
Have mercy with your old pal?
She leans over to Pris to kiss her.
I'm sorry, kiddo.
Pris replies.
I didn't want to unload all of this on you. It's a lot to deal with.
She pulls Evren even closer and whispers in her ear.
You will be fine. Everything will be fine.
Evren reaches for the door, bewildered by Pris's somehow resigned but serene undertone.
And Ev?
Pris softly pulls Evren back for one last kiss.
Thanks.
What will Pris do now?
None of your God's damned business.